Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a very good case study to illustrate the effectiveness of EU foreign and security policy. One, because it's a very long-standing, protracted, well-known and controversial conflict that has for decades been a barometer of how serious the EU can be taken as a foreign policy actor, but also because the case really shows how difficult framework conditions in the local, regional, global environment can impact the EU's ability to be effective on the ground.
Within the context of joint project, we published our research on the European Union's foreign and security policy towards the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Since the 1970s, the European Union's policy towards the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has served as a major barometer of the Union's ability to formulate a cohesive foreign policy. In the European Union's official discourse, there are two important points. First of all, for the European Union, this conflict and the Middle East peace process has been a strategic priority. Secondly, the European Union has pursued the two-state solution as a formula for conflict resolution since 1967. However, in our paper, we conclude that the two-state solution is a myth, and the European Union cannot be an actor convincing the parties to come to this solution. There are two reasons why the European Union cannot reach its two-state objective. First of all, Israel continues its settlement building policies, displacing Arabs and increasing its violent acts. Secondly, Palestinian politics remain divided. Human rights and rule of law abuses continue in Palestine. Violent clashes continue between the parties, and there's no prospect of peace in the short run and in the medium.
The bulk of the constraints that hamper an effective EU foreign policy making on this dossier are really the EU's own making. In other words, in particular, what we have found is that this is a clear case that illustrates how in the EU the requirement of unity among sovereign member states trumps effectiveness and impact on the ground. In other words, the need to stay united among member states is often more important and takes greater priority than making a difference on the ground.
So why the European Union is ineffective? The EU is ineffective, firstly, because of its internal divisions. Secondly, because of the interplay of regional fragmentations. And finally, because of global competitions, multipolar competitions, specifically the policies of the US in the region. And all these three constraints limited and still limit the EU's capacity to act. Even though the European Union is an ineffective actor, this does not mean that the Union does not try, and this does not mean that the Union is not mitigating the impacts of these constraints. In diplomatic terms, the European Union takes part and also initiates multilateral platforms that are involved in Middle East peace process. In functional terms, the European Union provides humanitarian aid and also financial assistance to Palestine for better living conditions and for state building. In institutional terms, the European Union has a strategy of delegation, of using its foreign policy tools in the region, and the European Union, accordingly, has conducted two operations in the region, one for state building in Palestine and one for assisting border crossings at the Rafah crossing in Gaza. In our paper, we explained all these mitigation strategies. However, our conclusion stays the same. The EU has not lived up to the expectations in the Israel-Palestine conflict.